You are listening to the Million Dollar Coach Business Podcast with Amanda Karlstad, episode number 233. Welcome to the Million Dollar Coach Business Podcast, a show for coaches who are ready to up-level their business and take their impact, leadership, and results to $1 million level and beyond. If you're ready to break through your limitations and start taking powerful action and become the seven-figure version of you that your business needs in order to grow, scale, and thrive, this show is for you. I'm your host, Amanda Karlstad, master coach, high-level business mentor and advisor, master intuitive, and business growth and scaling expert. Let's get down to business. Hello and welcome, everyone. So glad to have you here. I hope you're doing amazing. We are doing so good. We are gearing up for spring break and we are leaving in just a couple of days. And it's funny because we have hardly had any snow this year. I've been talking a little bit about this on the podcast, and it's actually felt like spring for quite a few weeks, which is very abnormal for us. But as I look out the window recording this podcast, we have probably at least 6 to 8 inches of snow. And so it's great timing that we're heading out, and just a great reminder that things are always working in our favor. All right. Today, I want to talk to you all about something that I am seeing across the board, that I have been thinking about over the last few days, that I feel is really important. And I've been really kind of marinating on this concept, on this idea for the past few days, and really thinking about what I wanted to bring to you today. And so what I want to talk to you all about is the importance of cultivating an attitude of expectancy, and especially when you're already an established coach, especially when you've already hit that multiple six or even seven-figure mark in your business. And I did a podcast very early on around this topic, around this concept, and I went back and reviewed that podcast, and that is a great episode, and I would highly encourage you all, after listening to this episode, to go back and listen to that episode as well. That was episode number 53, so that was, again, very early on. That was in my first year of podcasting, and it's good for me to do that sometimes, because when I go back and I look at even so many of those earlier episodes, there is so much gold, there is so much wisdom in those episodes. So episode number 53, I would highly encourage you to go back to that. So let's talk about this cultivating an attitude of expectancy and what that really means. So one of the things that I see happen across the board when I'm working with my clients, the truth is that when you start out on this journey, there tends to be a lot of excitement. There tends to be a lot of anticipation that comes with launching your business, that comes with working with your first clients, that comes with doing things like creating your coaching program, setting the back end up of your business, with doing kind of all of those things that happen when you first start out. And what I have experienced and what I observe with clients is that this place in your business tends to be very exciting. And typically for my clients, a lot of times you are coming out of a recent training or a certification program that you've been through, and your expectancy is high. And it's high because you are immersed in the work. You are likely experiencing a ton of transformation. You are learning so much. And what happens is that you have this whole world that so often has opened up for you. And it's a feeling as if you're just like ready to take on the world. And you have this excitement and this enthusiasm for helping everybody At least that's a common experience that I see. That's definitely how I felt early on. And it's because you are being so transformed yourself. You have been so transformed and you have all of these new and amazing tools. And there's just so much new energy when you're in that place. And what happens is that over time, as you then go out, you start building your business, you launch your program, you start doing all of the things inside of the business. For most people, the truth is that there is such a huge learning curve that's involved in that process. And it's because now you've entered into this new online business world, which for most people is a very new experience. And it requires very specific things. And it's not something that we learn through our traditional education system. It's not something we learn even through coach training. It's not something where there is a real straightforward path. And so initially I see for a lot of coaches where for most of my clients, when they come to me, and especially when they've created a level of success where they've hit that 6 or multiple 6-figure mark, usually through some hustle, usually through implementing some of the strategies that they've learned, they have been generating clients typically organically through things like social media or maybe a podcast, a YouTube channel, or some other fashion. And at the same time, what happens is there comes a point in time where you reach a plateau, where you hit a place in the business where it becomes very clear that you cannot grow further. And the reason that this happens is because you don't have the audience, you don't have the reach, you don't have the visibility, the marketing system, the sales system. And essentially, you're missing the ecosystem, what I call the ecosystem that is so vital to your business success. And it's vital at every level. And so what happens is when you are missing that piece, you start to realize that you've hit this plateau. And at the same time, you also are aware that there is so much more that's possible. You know that there are some big pieces that are missing. And at the same time, you also are probably confused what those next steps are or what they should be, the next best actions to take, all of those things. And so it's very different from, again, when you're starting out, when you start to kind of implement more of those basic things in the business, that can be very exciting because typically for the first time ever, you are, making progress and it's becoming more real. But when you have reached a level of success where you, again, have reached maybe that 6 or multi-6-figure mark in your business, and when you reach a place where you feel that plateau or you feel like you're capped and that what got you here won't get you there, what will also happen is, and I know this is the experience for all of my clients, is that when they come into our mastermind programs, whether they are, at that 6 or multi-6-figure mark or even beyond, what happens very quickly is that through our process, we can actually help our clients see pretty much immediately what their pathway is to their next big leap, whether that's 500,000 a year, whether that's 7 figures or beyond. And what happens is that level of clarity, like being able to tangibly see that alone is huge. That alone can activate clients immediately when they come into the program, which is why so many clients that do come in and create amazing results very, very quickly. I mean, we've had clients come in that create $60,000 cash months, highest cash months ever within the first several weeks of joining the program. We have clients that literally come in and within the first week, we've had this where clients have literally created $10,000, $15,000, $30,000 of sales of cash received in their business in the first week of the program. So there's real power in having a real roadmap. There is real power in having real strategy in your business. There is real power in actually having the tangible on how you can actually create the business that you truly desire. And what I will say is what also happens is that next phase of the journey of then having to go out and do the work, having to go out and create the marketing system, having to go out and learn these new skills in terms of sales, having to look at your offer, at your ideal client, really looking at everything with a fine-toothed comb, which is what we do with every client. And so this takes time. It takes intention. And what happens is that there is a whole new level, like I mentioned, of clarity that comes through that process. And very often it requires change. It requires changes possibly in the messaging of the business. It requires changes in who you might actually be speaking to. It might require change in your copy or in your content or in your marketing, and essentially all of the things. There's huge internal identity work that also has to be done along with this. The shedding of those old identities, being able to even see what those are. Step number 1 is huge. Being able to clarify the future self. It also requires building out, learning a whole new side of online business. All of these things, like these are big, big things that take time. It takes iteration. It takes patience. And what I will tell you, it requires an attitude of expectancy. And so as I was creating this episode, I decided to look up the definition of expectancy. And I think it's helpful to define words, to define concepts, so that this teaching can really come through very clearly. And one of the definitions that I thought defined the word really well in the context of what I'm teaching you here today is that expectancy is the quality or state of expecting, the state of expectation, the state of anticipatory belief or desire. It's the state of being expected. And I love this because this is it. It's about being in a state. And this is a really important distinction. It's an important distinction of expectancy. I want you to consider what it would feel like to be in a state, to feel the emotion of expectancy. For me, the emotion, being in that state, feels like desire. It feels like having rock solid belief. It feels extremely confident. It feels expectant. It feels decided. It feels done. And I want to challenge you to try that on, because right now, all of you have business goals. And I want you to think about what your business goals are. I want you to think about your next quantum leap. I want you to try that on, and try it on with a state of expectancy, from the feeling of expectancy, from the thought of this is already done, that this is already happening, that it's already done because I have the desire. I want you to feel the confidence in that. I want you to feel the feeling of expectance. I want you to feel a level of confidence and conviction in it already being done. This is why having an attitude of expectancy is so important. I want you to consider how living in this state would change things for you. I want you to consider how approaching your business, whether it be the projects in front of you, whether it be looking at your priority list, whether it be considering the work that you're doing, how would that change not only what you're creating, but what you're producing? How would it affect how you are showing up? What would it be like to show up every day in your business, knowing that your impossible goal is already done? Knowing that no matter what you have in front of you, no matter the work that's ahead, that your goal, your achievement of that goal is already done. Because here's the secret. To the degree that you are in this state where you are being expectant, to the degree that you intentionally cultivate this for yourself each and every day, to the degree that you allow yourself to believe that this is your reality, that you allow yourself to believe, the faster your results will come. Because it is in the resistance that we hold, it is in the narratives, the stories that we have where we allow our focus to go, that creates the doubt, that creates that lack of confidence, that creates roadblocks that for most of you do not need to even exist. One of the examples of this that I recently observed that I thought demonstrated this so well was I was listening just randomly to a conversation with someone that I would consider demonstrated this to the highest level. And to give you some context, this is somebody who, without even really knowing this, what he did was he talked about when he was younger, he decided that he wanted to play pro soccer. It was something that as a child, he decided that he wanted to do. He loved playing the game. And the idea of playing pro was something that he desired. It was something that he loved. And so in that, he talked about his journey. And he talked about the fact that he made that declaration as a child that he was going to play pro soccer. And he held to that. And as I was observing this conversation and thinking about this podcast episode, it was so fascinating to me because it was so obvious the state of expectancy that he was in, from how he made that declaration, how he believed it, how he chose to just go after it every day, how he chose to believe it every day. And in that, he talked about how it was just a decision, how he made that declaration, how he decided and he went for it. And what I loved is that wasn't all. Because later in life, he started playing golf and he decided, hey, I love playing golf. I want to play golf at the pro level. And the reason that he decided he wanted to do this was because he loved the journey so much of practicing and rehearsing and going out and growing his skill so that he could play at that pro level. And so it was so, again, clear in this interview that he was living and has lived when it comes to these two very big goals, right? Anybody who plays sports at a pro level is operating at their highest level. And so being in a state of expectancy, even as a child, even carrying that through as an adult, setting that impossible goal of playing another sport at the pro level as an adult was so fascinating. And I could see so clearly the reason he was able to do that was because, number one, he made the decision. He was expectant in that decision and he held that state of expectancy. He lived from a place of expectancy, which then created very little resistance in his brain around why he couldn't or could achieve the thing. And rather, he just went after it. And he put himself in the journey. And he stayed in the journey of it. And so just in the way that he spoke, in the way that he described how he just decided and how he believed and how he was just willing to do what it took to get there, to be in that state of expectancy, it has now transferred to every area of his life. And so this is somebody that even in business has built a large education and training company as a result. So I share this example with you because I just thought this was such a great example of why living in a state of expectancy is vital. And I want to go back to why this is important, again, at every level of business, because it doesn't matter if you're at 7 figures. It doesn't matter if you're at multiple 6 or 6 figures or even starting out, because you will be presented evidence at every stage in your journey that you will interpret as either reasons for why you cannot achieve your goals, or why it might not be impossible, or why it's not possible for you. You will be presented evidence of that at every level of your journey. So it's so important that you try this on right now. It's so important that you allow yourself to feel what expectancy feels like. It is very important that you allow yourself to feel what it feels like, knowing that your goals, knowing that your impossible goals are already done, that you've achieved that goal, and that you do this often. And I think there are so many practices that you can use for this. For me personally, this comes in the form of journaling. It comes in the form of visualization. It comes in the form of meditation, just my overall study, how I approach my day, how I approach my work. And there are so many ways that you can do this. And I will also say it's why being in an environment, it's why being coached, being around others who are also in the pursuit of big things, who believe in their dreams, but also believe in your dreams is so, so important. So if you're looking for that space, for that room, I will tell you, this is the work that we do inside of my containers, inside of the mastermind and the $1 Million Mastermind. This is part of that deep inner transformational work that is necessary to create real results in your business. And I want to invite you. Enrollment is open right now. There is limited space as we do this work on a very personal level. This is not a room where you can be passive. This is not a room where you will never be coached. This is a room where you will be coached and supported at the highest level, where you will be activated to your highest level, where your highest level will become our new standard. So I invite you to join. It is so, so important for you to embody this, to help you win. Because my friends, it is very easy not to win in this game. So I want to encourage you to take this opportunity to choose to win. Choose to step into your highest level. Choose to be expectant and to make it happen. I believe in you, and I believe in your impossible goals. All right, everybody, have an amazing week. I'll talk to you all again soon. Take care. Bye-bye. Thank you for listening to this episode of the $1 Million Coach Business Podcast. If you're ready to step into the $1 million version of yourself and scale your business to 6, multi-6, or 7 figures and beyond, go to amandakarlstadcoaching.com.